true statement, but identity works. So I'm going to make this into a fraction, and I'm going to bow tie. Whenever you add or subtract fractions, you can use the bow tie method, which just means we multiply diagonally. 1 times cosine squared is cosine squared. Then whatever symbol it was in between them is plus. These two multiply together. 1 times sine squared is sine squared. And then over, the bottom two multiply together. 1 times cosine squared is cosine squared. I'm just bringing the other side down. What's cosine squared plus sine squared? Well, look at number 5. 1. Yeah, if you look back at number 5, cosine squared plus sine squared is equal to 1. And now notice these two are exactly the same, which is what we wanted to verify. It's like a puzzle. And you try the exact same thing, but on the next one. It's going to look very similar to start off with. Well, and you can carry on. It's going to look the same. Let me turn the fan on, not the air, just the fan. So. Oh.
Are we supposed to do all of them?
We're supposed to do number 7.
Oh, I set it up.
Any clue why I would have marked you absent last Wednesday? Were you here, Jake? Last Wednesday? Day before the snow? Were you here? No? I don't know.
Oh,
I didn't know you.
I was at a signing.
Oh. Okay.
That's why I was.
Yeah, they had your name. They didn't have Jacob's name. I got you. I fixed it either way, but I was trying to figure out why. You should be trying to get the left and the right hand side the same. You'll end up with the right hand and the left like I did here. Okay, so how would we rewrite cotangent?
Cosine
Cosine over tan.
Yeah.
Clear.
square.
And I'm just going to go ahead and put the squared like that. You know, the squared goes with the top and the bottom. And cosecant,
1 over cosine. Oh, sorry, okay, sine.
that's all right. It's sine squared because cosecant and sine are reciprocals. And then I put this over 1 and bow tie. 1 times sine squared is sine squared. 1 times cosine squared, cosine squared. And then 1 times sine squared is sine squared. And then what happens on top?
You add cosine squared plus sine squared.
Yep. And you get 1. Yeah.
What's the same?
Sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. Yeah, it doesn't matter the order because when you're adding, it doesn't
Okay,
matter.
so that's why we got 1 over 5.
Yes. 1 over sine squared theta equals 1 over sine squared theta.
I like this a lot better than what we did.
Good.
Oh, wow.
You're gonna start
It's
adding
only- it's
numbers.
only the beginning.
Yeah, you really right about that.
Now, let's be positive.
Because it's about to go down.
Okay, good.
Alright, on the next page it says rewrite in terms of sine and cosine and then completely simplify.
Yeah, that's I already did.
Okay, so let's rewrite. This is already sine. How do I rewrite cosecant?
1 over 7.
1 over what?
1 over sine.
Sine, yes. Cosine's fine. How would I rewrite tangent?
Sine over cosine.
Very good. And we're getting these, by the way, from 1 through 7 on the other pages, which is really just, I think it's 1 through 4, actually. Okay, working inside the parentheses first, what's something you notice, hopefully?
Sine cancels.
The cosines cancel, yep. Multiplication there. And so when you multiply, if you have 1 on top and 1 on bottom, they cancel.
So it'd be sine over 1 times sine.
So, yes. If you want to rewrite it here, I'd have sine of theta, 1 over sine of theta minus sine of theta. Now I would distribute. We could go ahead, cross multiply, or not cross multiply, sorry, bow tie, but I think it'd be easier to distribute. Sine times 1 over sine.
No, that won't be one, it's multiplying. Would it be like sine over sine squared?
No, because it's sine over 1.
Oh.
So it's just sine over sine, which is 1. And then sine times sine, sine squared. Now, if we look at, I think it's number 5 on another page. 1 minus sine squared is equal to something. Cosine squared. So that's in simplest form. On this one, let's distribute before we simplify. See if that's easier, and then you can decide which way you want to do it, because it doesn't matter. So I'm going to distribute first before I change them all into sine and cosine. I have cosine times the tangent plus cosine